Hello, I'm Game Retainer, and in this video I'll be going over some more interesting underground locations in 7 Days to Die. If you haven't already seen the first video, I'll put a link to it somewhere on the screen now. All of the places featured in this video are from Navezgane. If you're playing on another map, the chances are those places will be there, but they'll just be in a different area. With that out of the way, let's jump straight in. Up first, we've got Fort Camo. This place can be found at 1472 East, 16 North. It's located in the Burnt Forest biome, and it's on the surface just like every other military base. However, it has a pretty nice underground structure. If we just travel down here, it's well fortified. The walls, for the most part, are made out of concrete. There is some nice loot here, definitely worth paying a visit. Some good things for salvaging. There is enough space to turn it into like a storage room or like an emergency bunker. Would I use this in the late game? Not really. But it's a cool little structure, and it can be extended and built upon if you choose to. Up next, we've got Haven Hotel. This place can be found in the desert biome at 179 West, 1739 South. It's a really big complex. It's a luxury resort, or it was anyway. It's got a lot of interesting features. It will probably take you a few days to clear it, and you will go through a crazy amount of ammo. But there's lots of loot to be found, and if I just go in through here, it has quite a nice underground facility. And it has a little bit of everything. Let me just get my bearings. It's got a nice washroom. It's got a pool, which can come in handy for collecting water. As you can see, there are a lot of enemies here. I am using console commands, so I am perfectly safe. There's a spa. There's quite a lot to see down here. It's pretty extensive. If I just go out, and you can see the size of the structure underground, it's pretty big. Probably not wise to try and take this over as a base, just down to its sheer size. But it's a fun project to take on as clearing out. If you're playing with a friend, this place is ideal because you can kind of tag team it and possibly clear it out within a day, 2 at the most maybe. But if you're playing alone, you will need to spend a lot of time clearing out room to room. But the underground aspect is pretty cool, and it's a nice little post-apocalyptic underground spa. This entry is a little bit of a cheat entry, as it's not a proper underground facility as such. It is just a basement. The reason why it makes this list is because of the structure around it. It's a pretty solid structure, but it's called the Broken Dreams House, and it can be found in the desert biome at 190 East, 1714 South. It's a cool place, and it's pretty good for a base, in all honesty. It's not difficult to clear out. Some great vantage points above ground. Pretty sturdy walls. You will have some neighbours, it's like in a little cul-de-sac, but you can clear these houses out without too much issue. But if we go into the house's basement, you can see it's not big at all, moderately sized, but it's got potential. The walls are pretty strong. There is some decent loot in here. It won't take a lot to turn this into a well-fortified bunker. Whether you want to use down here as a nice storage room and convert the rest of the house into a Horde Night base is obviously entirely up to you. But it's a nice little underground area, and I felt like it should get featured on this list, so there we are. Up next, we've got Fort Quonset. I think that's how it's pronounced. This can be found in the snow biome at 1239 East, 1559 North. Now, it's pretty remote. You won't find a lot of nearby towns or cities or anything, just the occasional little building. It's quite far up north, as you can see there. I think that's whatever the main town is called, I always forget. But if we go down here, there's a nice little lake out the back, so you've got a water source. With it being a fort, it does have some defences set up. It's got some mines around it, so it can be useful for like a horde base. The underground bit is in here, so we can activate that. We can head underground. Now, you will obviously have to clear it out, which I've not done, but we'll leave those for a minute. If we go through here, it's not massive. In fact, it is quite small. However, it can be turned into a nice little base. Nothing too special, but since it is in quite a remote location on the map, and you can take down that building on top and place something a bit sturdier, it's not a bad place. The thing when taking over an underground location, especially if you want to turn it into some kind of functional base, you don't want anything too big. So this is a relatively decent size. At least it's big enough to use as a storage room and keep all that nice loot you've scavenged. Up next, we've got another fort in the snow biome to look at. This is Fort Bags. It can be found at 849 West, 1497 North. Despite the skulls, what is it, 4 skulls, it's pretty easy to clear out. I've cleared out this place in like the first couple of weeks of a playthrough. It's not that difficult. The underground facility, it is small, so keep that in mind, but it's kind of big enough. There's not a lot to explore in here. We'll go into some big ones over the next couple of entries, but this might be a nice little place to sort of convert into a mine, have a storage area, whatever you like, or just come down and loot it, because there's some nice stuff here. But just another little small one, and it's quite remote. I don't think it's as remote as the previous entry. You do have some, cannot remember what they are. That could be a trader, actually. I think that is. And you are next to whatever the snow town is called, the city, I have no clue. But yeah, it's out of the way without being too far out of the way. Next up, we have one of the biggest underground locations in Navezgane, if not the biggest, and that is the Red Mesa Compound. I'm going to go with Mesa. This place on Navezgane can be found in the desert biome at 601 West, 1929 South. Be warned, you come here, it is really tough to clear out, especially during the early stages. My advice is to, if you've put a couple of points into parkour, make your way up here. Don't smash this, because there are usually loads of zombies in here. Instead, smash one of these panels here, and then you can kind of shoot them from above or throw in some grenades. It'll take them a while to clear that, and then you can go in. That was a zombie exploding. You can go in through this place backwards and clear it that way. Take the zombies by surprise. The way it wants you to go in, it ushers you into this building, which is the main building as you come in, and then you go down and through. It is an enormous complex. You can also go in through here and go down, and you can see just how many levels there are in here. There's lots of loot, lots of enemies. I think that's supposed to be some kind of rocket. This was a secret, or seemingly secret, government facility before the outbreak. It's a bit of a maze. You will get lost, or at least I get lost every single time I try and clear this place. And you may end up spending a couple of nights down here as well trying to clear it, because it is just absolutely massive. If I go out of the bounds here, you can see it is just an enormous facility. It's lots of fun to clear, lots of sweaty work, and be prepared to fight off a lot of ferals, especially if you've come towards the later stages of the game. It's a location that most players, most experienced players anyway, would have cleared out a few times, but maybe some of the newer players haven't quite got onto this area yet. Finishing off today's list, we are at Bob's, Boars and Carl's Corn. Now this location is one that most players would have visited. It's pretty close to Trader Rect, he's just over that ridge there. And it can be found at 352 West, 646 North. There's two things that make this location special. One, you can find Supercorn. And two, you can find Grace. Grace is, if I'm not mistaken, one of the only boss enemies in the game. She's an oversized boar. Pretty difficult to take down, although not all that challenging, as long as you bring a lot of bullets. I don't think she's spawned in for me here, because I am using console commands. I don't think I've triggered her. So let me just bring in a Grace. That's inside my head. There we go. There she is. So she'll be wandering around as you... I don't know why she's walking like that. But there we are. She'll contain quite a bit of meat. And it's a pretty tough battle, especially if you come here early on. But moving up and out of bounds of this area, you can see it's not huge, but it's definitely an interesting place to explore. Even if you just come here to see Grace. But with that said, that's all I've got for this one. If you can think of any other locations you want me to feature in one of these underground videos, let me know. And I hope to catch you guys in the next one.